Hello and welcome to the webinar. Today's topic, the consequences of misaddressed emails and how to prevent them. This event is brought to you in partnership with VIPRE and produced by Actual Tech Media. Thanks so much for joining us. We've got a really cool event lined up for you today, a cool topic, a cutting edge topic here. And I know a lot of you are going to be interested in this. We're going to have a live demo and we'll do a live Q&A as well. So we encourage your questions. My name is David Davis of Actual Tech Media, and I'm glad to be serving as the moderator. Of course, we want this event to be educational. We're all former IT professionals here ourselves at Actual Tech Media, and we know how tough it can be out there in the trenches of IT, and we want to help to solve your technology challenges. So we encourage your questions there in the questions pane. I see many of you have already said hello or good morning, good afternoon. We appreciate that. But we also want your questions. So as you're watching the presentation and the demo, keep those questions coming. And we have our best question prize as well. I'll talk about that in just a moment. We also have there in the handouts tab a link to the VIPRE Safe Send free trial. That's the product that you'll see a live demonstration of today, as well as VIPRE.com. And then finally, at the end of the webinar today, I'll be announcing the winner of our Amazon $300 gift card. If you're watching this on demand, of course, the drawing has already occurred. The prize terms can be found there in the handouts tab. And then, as I mentioned, we also have our best question prize for another Amazon $50 gift card. This one will be selected after the event based on the best questions that were asked from those who qualified from the Actual Tech Media prize policy. And with that, I'm excited now to bring in our expert presenter. Welcome, Mr. Ryan Cook, Solutions Engineer at VIPRE. Ryan, it's great to have you on.
Oh, thank you. And thanks for joining us, everyone. And yeah, I do feel like this is when I say cutting edge, I want to say that more in the sense of it's become way more important lately. And when it comes to the misaddressed messages, there's a lot of different ways we can handle the concept. And one of the most frustrating aspects in my eyes is going to be someone that spends so much time setting up all this security for their network, making sure people can't go and infiltrate their systems to take things and ensure that you have VPNs to secure your traffic, just to have someone, what I like to call, self-exfiltrate all sorts of information. And it can be serious in that sense, or it might be something more simple, like just someone was added to an email that wasn't supposed to be there, but you just spend all this time assuring someone that everything you do with their information is incredibly private, and you take their security of their data very seriously, and the next message has some random person attached to it. So with that, the way we want to address this with VIPRE is what we call Safe Send. And this is a plugin for Outlook, like the on-prem actual application you have installed on a machine, to ensure that when people are sending messages, that they're sending them A, to the right people, and B, that the contents of that message is what they intended to be. So just to get started here, when it comes to what we're aiming to do here, it's a pop-up that's going to be as soon as you hit send. Once a message is finished, they've added all their attachments, they've done everything they're going to, but right before is going to be where Safe Send takes effect. And what we're going to do is pop up, and as you can see, we're going to have, first off, all the different domains we're messaging are color-coded. And as first off, you have to, on the left-hand side, per person, check off, yes, each of these people are who I want to message, and you could just blur your eyes and you can see all the additional domains you're messaging if there's one or more than one. In addition, you have to confirm the attachments. On the top, we have the option for encryption triggering, and I'll go into that a little more in a moment. And we also have the ability to perform all sorts of cool DLP functions when it comes to just the basic details you see in this example, like Visa, social security numbers, any regular expression or just string you're going to look for, but also some cool domain keyword associations. But we also have the ability at the bottom to provide a little blurb to the user, as well as a link to something like maybe an internal wiki article, effectively getting across, if you're not sure if you should send the message or this contents to these people, please click here for our full policy on the subject. And finally, at the bottom, You can see your logo. It doesn't have to be VIPRE. It'll be whatever you would like to see so they know it's coming from you. And everything is completely self-contained within this plugin. And I'll go into a little more detail with that in a moment. But the whole concept is this is a plugin. No extra locations outside of the machine it's installed on need to be, say, added to a firewall for exclusions. Or if once Outlook opens, we need to add a server to confirm everything's working. And we don't even have a central console. So it's one less thing you have to have everyone on your team with a login for, or explain to a customer how to use this setup here. We're configured entirely through the Windows registry, and we provide all the templates you might need when it comes to providing updates to the product. And yeah, so it makes this so deploying the plugin takes care of everything without impacting the function of Outlook, because anyone who's used Outlook for more than 5 minutes has run into an issue with an Outlook plugin, even if you didn't have one somehow. However, when I mentioned the data loss prevention, we have two completely different angles we can use when tackling this concept. And the reason I like that we provide these different ways is the data that's being sent in emails, it's not always something that's obvious enough to make an automatic rule to this person or not. So you have to add the concept of just human logic to the situation. And that's what we want to do. So in the right circumstances, we want someone to take a look at a message and double check the information they're sending. So when I say general DLP content scanning, what I mean is in the area down below the recipient and file confirmation, you can see that, oh, sensitive content has also been found in this message. So outside of confirming the file itself, you see that in the body of the email, there's a Visa number, and in the attachment, there's a social security number. So you have to confirm that as well on top of the file itself before you're able to send the message. Now that can be, again, anything you'd like to look for, just individual strings, or maybe something like just a regular expression. And we have a huge book of these examples on our website if you need one. But we can also go from the angle of domain keyword association. So what we can see here is what we've done is we've bound just the words Wells Fargo and WFC to the wellsfargo.com domain. And with that, we can see in, again, both the body of the email and the attachment, how many of these things were mentioned. And the recipient, there's at least one that's not from the allowed domains. So now we have safe send popping up, and you have to type the word confirm to say it is okay to send this client data to a non-client recipient. But again, this could be just basic information, like you see the different strings of WFC and Wells Fargo. Or you could say, clients, maybe there's a specific customer number you could bind. Because again, the data in every document might not have a social security number. It might not have a Visa number or something that would identify it as personal outside of that one little bit of data that would actually say, oh, this is something that's going to the wrong person. And that's where this really shines, is those kind of edge circumstances, not those things you can make hard rules for when it comes to like inside just the email security that you're doing at the server level of blocking different social security numbers and sending the person a message saying a much more elegant way, because it helps train the user in the sense of double checking when the right circumstance applies, but also before the message is sent, so you don't have to have the send, block, return, and they have to rewrite the message. They get to start understanding before they go out in the first place what they should and shouldn't send, and identifying these circumstances that you can't make those hard rules for. Like I accidentally fat-fingered and added someone. And that's the last thing I really want to touch on when it comes to how this product is going to actually help when it comes to the pop-up itself, because we don't want to badger someone with just an additional roadblock they're going to have every time they send a message to ensure that they are going to confirm all this data. After 1 day of sending emails, everyone would be done. They check everything, they hit send. This is no longer something that helps. So our goal is to pop up in the right circumstances. So I had a couple of examples here to show that with the configuration I recommend, which is only popping up for multiple external domains, that we can ensure that we're not popping up constantly. And I just say this is an option because say you do want this to pop up every time, you absolutely can. However, just a few circumstances that would not warrant the pop-up. And that would be, just right here, a single recipient. And there's recipient one in VIPRE.com, there's no attachment, and there's no DLP trigger. So no problem, there's no VIPRE pop-up, or no safe send pop-up. Or we can have a single recipient plus a safe domain. You can have whatever safe domains you like, just whatever the actual customer's sending domain is. All those internal messages don't count towards popping up the product. So A, no internal messages get the pop-up in the first place. And B, you can have this configuration here, or even multiple external recipients, all from the same domain and any number of safe domain users, again, with no attachments or DLP triggering. But this is the circumstance that catches the most when it comes to, again, those edge circumstances. And that's multiple external domains. So as you can see right here, we have, two people from the VIPRE domain, the safe domain we're messaging, but we had the accident with another domain added. That is going to be what triggers the pop-up. The user sees, right before they send the message, or as soon as they hit send, this pops up before it's allowed to, and they have to say, yep, that extra one in another color is the wrong message. They can hit cancel and drop right out, correct it, and not send that erroneous email, which could be something, again, completely benign that's just kind of a bad for reputation, or it could be that bit of information that because of some policy or some agreement you have completely breaches a contract or so forth. But either way, that's going to be really the idea here behind SafeSend. And just to kind of pull up really things I was talking about, we have all the different points. I won't run through them all again. You'll just have them here if you'd like to take a look. But it's a fantastic product that's incredibly lightweight, provides all the options we've talked about. And I actually do want to mention that encryption triggering because I didn't get to that. And as you saw, we have just a yes or no at the top of would you like to encrypt this message? And this is not encryption in and of itself. This is the ability to trigger encryption. The equivalent of, all of my users, in order to encrypt a message, have to prepend their subject with bracket, encrypt, bracket. Which, first off, I'm amazed at the different spellings of encrypt I've run into. And I've seen parentheses, I've seen squiggly brackets or carets, which I really probably should know the official names for those by now. But either way, all sorts of different things that might not trigger this. However, a yes or no, would you like to encrypt, is much simpler for users. And you can have it prepend the message automatically with whatever trigger is already configured for encryption down the line, let's say at the mail flow security, or just say Office 365 or wherever your mail server resides, or encryption, and have it just work in line with everything with a simple yes or no. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned that. When you talked about the trial, I did want to go through that because that would give me a really nice opportunity to not only mention if you did want to get started with VIPRE SafeSend, how easy it would be, but also how, if you did purchase, how deploying the product would function. So with that said, going ahead and starting my screen share. David, are you able to see that?
Yes, sir. Looks good.
Perfect. All right. So here we just have an instance of Outlook with a message, bunch of different people on a message, couple of different attachments, and this is an example email. But this can just show the product itself, which outside of being yelled at for not remembering my password, we can see all the different domains, color-coded, blur your eyes, see the difference, decide if we need to encrypt the message, yes or no, have to confirm all the individual recipients themselves that are not marked safe domains, the files, as well as being able to go and send the message after all that information's all set, which will not send because I do not have my password. But what I really wanted to get into more than anything else, it's going to be mad at me for that password here. Apologize for that. Perfect. So if you did want to get started with VIPRE SafeSend, and again, this is with the trial or after purchase, just to show how simple the process is. And that's important with Outlook add-ins because if you're using an Outlook add-in, you're probably using more than one. And again, if you've ever used Outlook, you've run into a problem of opening it up and this plugin is taking this duration to load. Would you like to not load it next time? Every end user is going to say yes, and no end user is going to go and re-enable it, even if they have the ability to. So being incredibly lightweight is one of the biggest advantages here. So again, there's no central console. You would simply install the trial, which automatically begins a 14-day trial of the product. And inside Outlook itself, you'll have your options. Trials don't require passwords. Purchases, you'll get your password. And from here, you can set all the different options you'd like. We have all sorts of amazing logic you can set in place. You can change the wording of any aspect of the product. And on top of that, set your data loss prevention settings. But once this is all done, you simply store the settings, which creates a new MSI file. And at that point, that file deploys all the options you've configured, all your safe domains, all the logic you've configured, all of your DLP rules, and everything is configured within the registry. So if there's any changes that need to be made in the future, we have the ADMX and ADML templates that are provided, which really just means through a group policy, you can make a couple of changes, push them out to everyone. Like let's say, a new alias domain was added for a customer. No problem. Push it out, and within 5 minutes, the product will pick up those changes. And that also means any different group of users can get any different set of options if they'd like. And really the only thing you can't change through that way is the logo. So make sure you get the right logo. But outside of that, that's going to be the entire configuration and way the product works. Now, again, with that whole self-contained concept, that does give me one more aspect to touch on, which is, like I said, there's no central console. There's no registration server that after you open Outlook, it has to confirm it's allowed to open, or an update server that's going to go check for different rules and try to make sure all these are synced before you're able to send the product, which for anything similar to this, I've seen problems where you hit send, that server's unreachable. Maybe it's down for whatever reason. You just get that spinning circle without the mouse, and you'll never actually get the pop-up to occur. With us, nope. Connectivity, 0% of the equation, and everything's able to function within Windows. So, like I mentioned, the registry is where the settings reside. However, any logging, like let's say someone opened a message, got the pop-up, and closed it, all of that is going to be logged, not only with a local backup text file, but also with an event viewer. So any sort of a log amalgamation tool that's going to pull all the details from Event Viewer from all these different machines is going to have the syntax to check for things like how many times did this affect a user and make them close an email? And how many times did the product itself go through and warn someone about something and they confirmed, which logging is an important aspect because a lot of the times, like say the people that are listening today aren't the people misaddressing emails, most likely. They have to deal with the fallout from it. And it's very nice to be able to say, look, they were warned. These were all the different domains that they were sending to. They were color-coded to show which domains were which. They had to confirm all of those recipients, the files themselves. I warned them about the sensitive content. They confirmed that as well, right above a link to an internal wiki article that told them they were not allowed to do it, and they hit send anyway. I've done everything I can. With that, that's really what I did want to touch on here. Hopefully all that made sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, really cool. Thank you so much for taking time to show us the product. And I think that helps us to visualize exactly how this would work and really how powerful it is. So cool demo. Let's go ahead and take some questions now from the audience. If you have a question, now's the time to get it in. Don't forget about our best question prize as well. And while we take your questions, I'm just going to bring up this poll for everyone out there in the audience. The poll question says, what additional information would you like about the VIPRE solution? And note that it's a multi-select question, so feel free to select more than one answer there. Let's see, first question that came in for you, Ryan. They're asking, does VIPRE offer DMARC protection?
Number one, yes. But number two, that doesn't necessarily apply to the SafeSend product itself, because where we offer that is going to be our VIPRE email security, which I'm actually glad that question came up because that's going to be our product that really does have an interaction here with SafeSend. And I mentioned that we have that yes or no encrypt. That's going to work, say, for example, if, and when I say VIPRE email security, just to give the 5 second overview, it's gateway protection. You said the records or all of a customer's MX records point to us, mail server, whatever it may be beyond there. And for either someone using VIPRE email security that provides the encryption concept or any other encryption solution, be it Office 365's itself, some other gateway protection, any of those email programs, when you send the message, if someone does decide to encrypt, it's going to go and set whatever you would like as that program may need to trigger the encryption in the first place, and we just stamp it before it goes. However, that said, when it comes to the DMARC protection, we do protect from that with our email security, that gateway product.
Excellent. Very nice. And then next question, does SafeSend perform whitelisting of domains using any sort of ML techniques?
When it comes to whitelisting, we absolutely have all sorts of different options when it comes to the domains, subdomains of things you don't want us to pop up with, even specific domains that you do or don't want the product to use. But when it comes to the machine learning, that's actually something we leaned away from. The reason we want SafeSend to function the way it does is we want it to be exactly what you want it to do. Because again, these edge circumstances aren't going to be these very exact rules you can make. And I've seen something similar to this product work in that way with machine learning. And it ends up like associating strange phrases with different groups because they're only sent in that loop. So either way, the idea with us is we have the strings and the regular expressions, but mainly the multiple external domain detection that's going to provide that benefit from A, the simplest way possible, and B, in the most lightweight, again, not reaching out of the machine, and in an unobtrusive way for the users. And that's kind of a long answer to that question. I apologize about that.
No, excellent. I appreciate that. Next question, Christopher is asking, and you may have covered this in the demo there, but how configurable are the certain circumstances rules? He says, I wouldn't want to hassle my users for internal emails.
Oh, absolutely. We have the safe domain concept, which would just be all the internal domains that would be utilized by a customer. And that's where we don't count, not only in the sense of not popping up the product, but in that multiple domain count. Any number of safe domains wouldn't provide, a number in that sense. Like in those examples I was showing, you could have as many internal people as you like on an email that has one external domain on it, for example. However, if there's multiple external domains and any number of safe domains, then it would pop up. And that said, that's just going to be for that part. I saw a question in here talking about encryption. Encryption can also be contextual. So you can say only pop up the encryption prompt if DLP detects something, or only pop it up if there's an attachment. You can even have it not pop up for attachments and only pop up for DLP rules being triggered. It's pretty much everything can be configured in the terms of not only logic, but also the wording. Like if you want to say something outside of sensitive content found, you can word that in any way you like. In fact, I had a user that had a question at the top where they weren't using the encryption. So they changed the wording to, did you, if DLP triggered, it asked him if the user had, or if the sender of the message confirmed yes or no, they had that person sign some sort of a release that they needed to send when it comes to sending that email. And that extra little bit of configuration where you just make that yes or no prompt, just whatever you want it to be for just, tracking purposes even, you can absolutely use that. It's amazingly configurable.
Very cool. Very cool. Another question they're asking, are there any more details on the administration? And I know you said there's no centralized administration, but how would you roll this out to many different users?
Typically, it's going to be that process I showed where we just install it, pop up the settings, configure it however you want on your local machine. And then from there, you're able to generate an installer with all the options you set if you purchased, like with your activation key and everything like that. And from there, it's going to be able to be deployed through typically group policy. to any of the machines. The installer is very small. Or any sort of deployment software, it just installs silently in the background and will be enabled the next time users open Outlook.
Very nice. That sounds easy. Next
Now,
question.
that's I apologize. The last thing about administration is just if you want to talk about changing settings, and that's going to be, again, through that ADMX and ADML template we provide. And anyone who's not familiar with that, effectively, it's just a template you add into the Windows domain controller, and you're able to push any changes you'd like through that same idea of not having to reach out to every machine, redeploy, just push out a group policy, and all those changes get recognized within 5 minutes.
Nice.
Apologize
Shelby
about that.
says, yeah. Shelby says that they like how it can look into attached files. What type of files can it scan, and can it scan password protected files?
We can't scan password protected files, but we do have specific logic for password protected files. So if you want to say pop up and make sure the person confirms the file's okay, or even deny sending password protected files, you absolutely can. But when it comes to, let's see here, the attachments themselves, we look through any sort of document file and within any sort of compressed file, and any document files within that compressed file. So PDFs, all Word files, Excel spreadsheets, DocX, all PowerPoints, all those things.
Okay. Another question, is there any way to block users from sending messages altogether based on certain parameters?
Absolutely. Every circumstance that has an option of popping up, like if the file or if a file is attached to if DLP is triggered, has the option of confirm or deny. So allow them to confirm it and send, or just flat out deny them sending it. And again, you can change the wording when it comes to what you say when you deny a message.
Nice. Bradford's asking, does this product link to any sort of cloud database or receive any sort of downloads of what bad domains are?
Oh, nope. There's zero outside communication with the product other than Windows itself. It installs within Outlook, and it never reaches outside of the machine to any website for any reason. And all of its updates are going to be done for, say, and again, this is not when we say bad domains. I'm realizing now you probably mean like blacklisted domains. The idea here isn't to provide the protection. Again, that's going to be where the email security cloud comes into play. This is specifically looking at when we say bad domains. We do have a list you can set, but that would be domains you specifically want the domain or the product to always pop up for. Like, these are 5 important clients. We want this to always pop up if you're sending to them, regardless of the other logic we have in place. That we don't do the concept of like blacklist and everything. That's going to be, again, the email security cloud product.
Got it. Okay. And then can SafeSend be used with Outlook on the web?
Ooh, that's a great question here, because right now everything here is set up within the Outlook plugin, and we will continue that for infinitum here, because Outlook is, when it comes to trying to be as secure as possible, Outlook's typically the way to go. Have everyone have on-prem Outlook. Do not allow going through the web. However, when it comes to using Outlook Web Access, we do have a version at the moment, but most importantly, we're going to have an iteration released here, I believe this quarter, that's going to provide all of this ability through Outlook Web Access for Exchange and for Office 365, where you'll be able to configure a server with Office 365 or Exchange to communicate with. That would allow you to configure this to automatically pop up with all the logic and all the DLP options we talked about here. And that would work setting just that server up for not only Outlook Web Access, but also Outlook for Windows and Outlook for Mac. However, at the moment, when it comes to that Outlook Web Access plugin, we do have the concept. It just does not have the DLP component. And I'm just super excited about that new version coming out. It's basically all the logic and all the options for everything you saw here, full parity when it comes to utilizing it through effectively a hosted version.
Very nice. Yeah, that's exciting. Let's see. Dawn is asking, would this work if we're using Gmail?
With Gmail, it could work as long as you're using the Outlook plugin because we don't care where the email's coming from or where it's sending to. All the it's going to work here outside of the hosted version I just mentioned is going to be that it's installed in Outlook. So if you are using Gmail, however, everyone is pulling their Gmail into Outlook, 100% will work just fine.
Got it. And what about mobile?
Mobile is something we do plan to have for the future. However, it's going to be after that next release that's going to have that feature parity concept.
Nice. And then let's see. Next question. Um, what if I need to update settings? You were talking about those files, so there's no redeployment that needs to be done.
Oh, absolutely. When it comes to changing all those options, and I keep saying ADMX and ADML files and everything, and I guess that can be kind of murky. So, what I really mean is Windows has the idea of just settings that can be configured through what's called a domain controller. And these settings can be pushed out easily to machines that might be on the same network or might be even remote to the domain, so as long as they're associated to it. And that would allow, say, for example, I can start a screen share here really quick, allow you to utilize some templates that we provide. And I won't go through how to use all these different tools because there's a lot to touch on, but effectively, you would just import the things we sent or we provide, which allows you to go through all of those options I showed. That this is 1-to-1 ratio of all the options inside the plugin itself. And just so you can see that again here, like if you're editing the plugin, whoop, you're right here. Ooh, if I could type with my mic right here. Apologize about that. I always have issues typing in my password. Effectively, all the information we're looking at here is going to be shown right here. The common settings, the strings even, all the different things we would like to configure. You would just change here. And if you want the same settings for everyone, just push out those options. Or you can even target these rules to just be individual users. So if you want a sales department to have one rule, but an HR department to have a different set of rules, it's super easy to configure, and there's no need to redeploy once the product's actually out there. Outside of if you want to change your logo, that's the only thing you can't change through here.
Excellent. And then next question, what level of support can I expect?
Oh, I always like answering that because when it comes to support, just some background on myself. I've been with VIPRE for, I want to say 14 years now. It's been a while. And I actually started in support, from our home support side, helping everyone just at home install VIPRE, to go into the business support side, working with, the businesses deploying the product and working with them. And now I'm over here on the sales side, going through and providing all the details when it comes to the products. But really, I obviously I'm going to be a bit biased because I came from them myself, but I'm very proud of our support. And the cool thing about our guys is not only in the sense of like, do they have more product knowledge, which obviously they do, but the main idea is they're going to be happy to help if there's anything that needs to be done. If you want an extra walkthrough, if you want them to remote in and take you through a couple of settings, or even show you how to deploy anything that you'd like to do, they'd be happy
Very
to do what
nice.
you
And
was
then
going to
what
do.
does VIPRE offer beyond the email protection here that we're talking about?
Oh, beyond email protection, we do have just this concept of the sender recipient verification, the email security I mentioned. On top of that, that would be at the server level. But we also provide endpoint protection with our VIPRE Endpoint Security Cloud product. Effectively guard all the endpoints, perform those advanced behavioral heuristics backed up with machine learning on all those different systems out there and ensure everyone's protected. And also not only a VPN product, but also the security awareness training that is becoming more and more important as time goes on, of ensuring users are not only trained with courses of what's going on, things they need to know, but also getting those phishing samples sent to them to see if they're vulnerable, and allowing you to know and assigning with them what I like to call the penitence course. But either way, we provide pretty much any range you'd need when it comes to security needs. VIPRE probably has something.
Nice. And then let's see, Christopher's asking, if they're using another email filtering solution from, let's say, some other company, could this still work for them?
Oh, 1,000%. We're just going to be a plugin in Outlook, and we aren't going to conflict with other plugins. And again, no attempts to reach outside of Outlook eliminate a million different ways that plugins can run into problems. But that said, also when it comes to say the encryption aspect, which is really the big integration question, which is can you trigger encryption with any encryption product? And absolutely, if that product needs you to put bracket encrypt bracket in a subject line to perform encryption, we can just automatically do that if the user says yes. So it gives an incredibly wide range of interactions and or integration potential with incredibly little effort. And again, just zero work on the machine itself. Not trying to generate all these public-private keys and no, just stamp the message, let it go. Don't make an Outlook plugin do all sorts of crazy stuff.
Very nice. Jose said that most of their staff is working remotely. Could this still work for them?
Oh, 1,000%. As long as they're using Outlook and they have it installed, you can have it run whatever they need to run, not only settings wise, but also with any updates you'd like to do, as long as they can reach back to your domain, which something like, say, a VPN, which like VIPRE VPN, but again, any VPN would allow you to stay in touch with that domain controller. So any updates could also be pushed to all those home machines.
Got it. All right. Well, I know we were kind of trying to keep this short. I really enjoyed the demos. I mean, final question I wanted to ask you is if folks are interested in this, they want to try it out, how should they get started?
Going to that trial page is going to be the easiest way, and it's a no strings attached, no contact needed trial. You just go to the trial link, go to the bottom of the page, fill out that information, and you get a link to download the file. That is going to run for 14 days after it's installed on a machine automatically. No need to register, get keys from us, or anything like that. And because the settings are so easy to update across multiple different ways, if you do decide to purchase, everything you do is just confirmed and put into place by a change of a key.
Awesome. Well, it sounds super easy. It sounds like a great solution that could help so many companies out there to be more secure and prevent data loss. Ryan, it's been great having you on the event. Thank you so much. Excellent. And thank you to VIPRE for supporting the event today. Don't forget about the poll question that's on the screen there. What additional information would you like about the VIPRE SafeSend solution? Just select your response there, and we do appreciate that. Don't forget about the handouts tab, and that's where you'll find the link to the VIPRE SafeSend free trial solution. And you can try it out for yourself. Like Ryan said, 14-day free trial. And also VIPRE.com is there as well, where you can see the complete offerings available from VIPRE. And with that, I'm going to announce now the winner of our Amazon $300 gift card. This is going to James Ravello from Pennsylvania. Congratulations, James Ravello from Pennsylvania. And we'll reach out to our best question prize winner via email after the event. Thank you so much for joining us on the webinar today. Visit VIPRE.com for more information. Have a great day. Bye-bye.